Dyeing red hair can be difficult. But it's not impossible, regardless of whether your hair is naturally red or has been dyed that color. You can achieve a beautiful shade of brown from the convenience of your own home. Decide what color you'd like your hair to be. Do a bleach wash if applicable. And then apply the dye of your choice. There are also several things you can do to help maintain your color. Like using the right shampoos and conditioners and applying weekly hair treatments to your lovely locks. So, we are going to watch about the how to dye red hair brown.
Method 1. Choosing a color.
First is determine what shade of red your hair is currently. Whether or not your hair is naturally red or dyed red, you still need to know what shade it is before you can make an informed decision about what color of brown you'll need to buy. Look online for different descriptions and examples to pinpoint your shade. Some of the common reds are strawberry blonde, bright copper, ginger, classic red, deep red, auburn, red velvet, ruby red. Step 2. Decide if you want red tones to shine through the brown or not. Because red hair is so hard to cover, you may need to dye your hair twice to cover it all. But if you don't mind some red coming through the brown, you can get away with just one application of dye. Red brunette is an in-style color right now. Look online for examples of red-brown hairstyles to see if any of them catch your eye. Step 3. Consider your skin tone when making a color selection. If you have pale skin, opt for a rich brown with warm undertones for a look that complements your skin. If you have tan or more olive-toned skin, opt for an ashy or more muted brown. If you have deep undertones, look for a more intensely dark brown. Avoid picking a shade of brown that is similar to your skin tone. Try uploading your picture to a site that'll enable you to envision yourself with a different hair color, like Matrix Virtual Hair Color or Redken's Hair Color Change app. Step 4. Buy a brown dye that is a shade darker than your red hair. Choose a semi-permanent dye if you aren't ready to commit to being a brunette just yet. Or pick a permanent dye for longer lasting coverage. Avoid the 10-minute boxes. Since you're going to be covering red tones, you need to use an application that's going to set into your hair over a 15 to 30 minutes period. Also, buy 2 boxes of the dye, especially if you have thick hair or hair that is shoulder length or longer. That way you won't run out in the middle of dyeing your hair. If your hair is a red velvet, then you aren't going to have much success dyeing it a medium brown. You'd be better off opting for a deep brown. If you have strawberry blonde hair, though, you can pick nearly any shade of brown that you like as they'll all be darker than your natural color. Look for kits that include a plastic bowl, applicator brush, and gloves. Finally, buy a bleach kit, especially if you have pre-colored hair. Because red tones are so hard to cover, even those with naturally red hair will want to consider bleaching their hair before applying colored dye. Look for a bleach kit that includes bleach, developer, gloves, bowl, and applicator brush. You can always try dyeing your hair without bleaching it first, but you probably won't have as good results. Keep in mind that color doesn't lift color. If you've already dyed your hair, you won't be able to lighten it with a different color dye. However, you can dye your hair a darker color. A dark brown dye may take without you having to bleach yourself first.
Method 2. Bleaching red hair. First is prepare the bleaching kit.
If you're going to make your own mix at home, you will need 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters, of hair conditioner, 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters, of shampoo, 3 tablespoons, 44 milliliters, of water, 8 tablespoons, 120 milliliters, of developer, and 8 tablespoons, 120 milliliters, of bleach. If you bought a bleach kit at the store, follow the instructions to mix the ingredients together in the supplied bowl. Always wear gloves when working with bleach. Step 2. Apply the bleach to your hair and leave it in for 10 to 20 minutes. Pull the top half of your hair up and then separate the bottom half into 2 sections, using plastic clips or hair ties. Then use an applicator brush to evenly spread the bleach from the roots to the tips. Then separate the top half of your hair into 2 sections and repeat the process. Leave the bleach on your hair until the color starts to lighten. How long you need to leave the bleach on your hair will depend on the level of volume developer you use. The higher the volume of your developer, the quicker it will work on your hair. Use the bleach bath immediately after you mix it up. Otherwise it'll start to oxidize and won't react well with your hair. Make sure you use plastic hair clips and tools when you're using bleach. This is because bleach has a chemical reaction with metal. Avoid getting the bleach bath on any new regrowth, like your roots, that aren't colored.
Step 3. Shampoo, condition, and dry your hair as normal.
After the 10 to 20 minute bleach treatment, take a shower or wash your hair in the sink and follow your normal hair washing routine. Make sure to dry your hair completely before moving on to the dyeing process. Try to use the low heat setting if you blow dry your hair, or just let it air dry to avoid causing more damage.
Finally, test a strand of bleached hair.
Choose a small patch of hair from a hidden area, like the bottom layer in the back, and apply the dye. Make sure the end result is what you want and that there aren't any funny reactions, like an orange or muddy color. You could also trim a few hairs and test those rather than trying to test hairs that are still on your head. If your hair does have a bad reaction to the dye, you may want to try another brand or simply see a professional.
Method 3. Dyeing your hair.
First is plan to dye your hair the same day you bleach it. You can wait a few days if you want to between bleaching and dyeing, but chances are you aren't going to like the color of your bleached hair without the dye. It's likely the bleach will turn your hair a yellow, brassy, or orange color. So set aside a few hours one day so you can do everything at once. You do, however, want to make sure your hair is dry after you bleach it before you attempt to dye it. Step 2. Open up your color kit, mix the dye in the bowl, and set out your tools. Read all instructions carefully. Each manufacturer has different guidelines for how to apply the dye and how long it should be left on your hair. Plus, depending on the brand, there might be some helpful tips or warnings included in the instructions. Prepare the dye mix in the bowl provided, and set out your gloves, applicator brush, and some old towels so that you have everything gathered in one place. You'll want to lay out a towel to set the dye and brush on top of while you're working to protect your counters. And you'll also want one to lay across your shoulders to protect your clothes and skin. If you don't want to ruin your towel, you can use newspaper to protect your counters instead. Step 3. Wear gloves when applying the dye to protect your hands. Remember to wear your gloves at all points during the dyeing process. If dye gets onto your skin, it can take a really long time for it to fade away. Keep some wet wipes handy to clean up any spills or splatters quickly.
Step 4. Apply the dye.
It helps to work in sections. Use hair clips to separate your hair into 4 different parts. 2 sections from the bottom half or your hair, and 2 sections from the top half. Start with the top of your head and progress down your scalp, using the applicator to brush the dye into small, 4 to 2 inch, 0.64 to 1.27 centimeters. sections at a time. After you've applied the dye to all of the roots, go back and spread it along the rest of your hair. Make sure to wear clothing that you wouldn't mind getting stained, like an old button-up shirt. Step 5. Wear a shower cap while you wait for the dye to set in. The shower cap will protect your home from accidental brushes with your hair and lets you move around easily as you wait. Set a timer for the time specified in the instructions, usually 15 to 30 minutes, and don't leave the dye in for more or less time than instructed. If your scalp starts to painfully burn, you may be having a reaction to the dye. If that happens, wash it out immediately and visit a professional salon to have your hair fixed. For extra heat activation, wrap your shower cap head in a towel. If you have a hooded dryer, you can sit underneath it with your shower capped head. This helps the dye set. Step 6. Rinse the excess dye out of your hair until the water runs clear. Again, make sure to check the instructions for specifics, but generally you'll rinse your hair with water and then use a provided shampoo and conditioner. If your kit didn't include shampoo and conditioner, make sure you choose a shampoo and conditioner that is formulated for color-treated hair. Don't forget that you need to wear gloves during this process, too. So either use your gloves from before, or use a new pair. Step 7. Dry your hair to see how the color took to your hair. Either let your hair air dry, or use a blow dryer for faster results. Check to see if there are red tones still shining through or if you perhaps need to apply more dye. To achieve the look you're going for, check your hair under different lighting, like outdoors, indoors, and in rooms with low or high lighting settings. Finally, color your hair a second time to remove any lingering shades of red. If you need or want to, do a second round of dye to add another layer of brown to your hair. Even if you were to get your red hair colored at a salon, they might do a second dye or have you come back in a week for a touch-up. So it's not unusual to have to do this. You could do the second dye right away, or you could wait a few days, just depending on your preference.
Method 4. Maintaining the color.
First is use color-treated specific products to care for your newly dyed hair. Regular shampoos and conditioners could cause your newly dyed hair to fade more quickly. In general, look for sulfate-free products and read the bottles carefully. You can find these products at beauty supply stores or even at your local convenience store. Step 2. Opt for cool showers and baths to prevent color from fading. Heat is the biggest enemy of color, so choose to use cooler water when you do wash your hair. If you want to take a hot shower or bath, use a shower cap to protect your hair from the heat. Step 3. Skip several days between each wash to make your color last longer. Frequent washing dries out your hair, and it also makes colors fade faster. Try to wash your hair at the most every other day. When you shower, use a shower cap to keep your hair dry. Invest in some dry shampoo if your hair tends to get greasy between washes. Step 4. Limit your use of heat styling tools to keep your hair healthy. Because the bleach and dye damaged your hair, you can help keep it healthier by not using hot styling products as often. Hair dryers, curlers, straighteners, and curling wands all utilize heat to style your hair. Try to limit their use to 2 to 3 times per week. Try to use the low heat settings when you do use heat styling tools. When you use heat styling tools, apply a heat protectant beforehand to protect your hair. Step 5. Apply a weekly deep conditioning mask to repair damage. You can buy hair masks at the store, or you can make some really simple yet effective ones at home. For example, you could mix 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters, of honey, 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters, of coconut oil, and 1 egg yolk and apply it to your hair for about 20 minutes for a deep conditioning mask. Search online for different recipes to start making your own masks at home.
Finally, touch up your roots.
Maintain your beautiful new color by dyeing your roots every 4 to 8 weeks. Make sure to use the same color of hair dye that you used initially. And follow the instructions on the box. Doing your roots yourself can save you hundreds of dollars every year on hair care costs.
We hope it is useful to you. Please subscribe to our channel to upskill yourself.